there's a way in which, the toothpaste is already out of the tube. People are already having to make decisions based on the fact that their premiums will double. Some folks will already be without health care. And so now they're trying to put the genie back in the bottle. We'll see where it lands. I'll do whatever I can to help the people in my state.
I wanted to ask you about a very odd post from the president today, and obviously that doesn't narrow it down, in which he was reacting to an interview you did with Kristen Welker on Meet the Press on Sunday. He said that you spent the entire show using religion to try and divide the country. If a Republican, and particularly me, made those statements, I would be front page news. He ended by saying he was going to his church to preach now, and while I think that's fine, I do say whatever happened to separation of church and state. Now, I have to say that we watched the entire interview, and that's just, it's actually kind of an opposite characterization. It's the opposite of what you were saying, quite clearly, about religion and unity. But do you have a reaction to this very strange, seemingly out of nowhere attack?
Well, 3 days later, when Americans are waiting to hear from this president about what he's going to do about their costs, he apparently is catching up on television from this past Sunday. I can tell you at the top of the list of things that I need Donald Trump to advise me on, or I don't need him to advise me on, certainly that's faith. And he's got a lot of nerve saying that I'm using faith to divide people. This is a man who literally had protesters gassed and beaten down so he could hold up a Bible in front of a church. He ought to read the Bible. If he would crack open that Bible, he would see that Jesus said that I came to preach good news to the poor. There's some 2,000 verses that counsel us on how to treat the poor. The Bible over and over again tells us how to welcome the stranger. Jesus spends much of his time healing the sick. And over against that view, we've seen a president who literally is taking health care away from millions of Americans and creating fear and terror throughout immigrant communities. My faith is not a weapon, it's a bridge. And I'd invite the president to come and over to my church. Maybe we ought to have some Bible study because apparently he doesn't know the faith that I talk about on Sunday morning.
Is there anything that you're looking for, expecting tonight in this presidential address, which, again, our guidance is not there's not new ground. He even seemed to think that he was going to just use this as an opportunity to tell people they've got it great and they're misunderstanding their own situation, I guess, or blame Joe Biden. But are there words, are there things that you would like to hear or understand better, particularly whether it's things about the tariffs or things about what seems to be a kind of headlong rush for war in Venezuela?
Listen, Donald Trump got elected telling the people of America that he was going to lower their costs. He's done the exact opposite. Families in Georgia are going to see their costs or have seen their costs go up some $1,200 this year. Next year, it will be $1,700. We witnessed, because of the one big ugly bill and his other policies, the largest transfer of wealth from the bottom to the top. This is Robin Hood in reverse. He's literally robbing from the poor and the middle class and giving to the rich. This is socialism for the rich. And because he hasn't put forward any ideas to actually help people, he's trying to distract them by attacking me, by attacking others, by attacking my faith. Listen, I'm going to keep standing up for the people of Georgia. And we'll see what the president says tonight. But the people don't need Donald Trump to tell